All right. Welcome to Talking Investing, or welcome back everybody that was on this morning's impromptu live stream. We're back. The week is over. Hello, Sour Melon Gaming. From Sour Melon Gaming. Hello, everyone. Hang in there. Things will be better. I personally feel sometime between Q4 2023 and Q1 2024, we're going to begin seeing big upward moves into the halving. I'm calling Bitcoin 50K by end of year. Nice. That's a little higher than I'm calling, but I like it. I think I feel similarly to that. I feel 2023 is going to be just fine. I think we're going to be up this year. Hello. Tell me if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. Hello, Sai. Gorilla, Miguel. Let's cry together. No, we gotta laugh together.
Or cry. See you. Thank you. Or
if
cry.
You believe this is the time to pay close attention. Yeah, I mean, there could be some buying opportunities ahead. We'll see. This is what's going on right now. This was our Friday. So really, I mean, honestly, Friday was sideways big time. This was the end of the day Thursday. For those of you familiar with the channel. Oh, sorry. This is a public service announcement. Please smash the like button. It helps the live stream. And we're going for 100 likes. Our Friday live stream, we got a 3-week streak of 100 likes going. So help us out. Smash the like button. Those of you that are here early, much appreciated. And you can always unlike it later. I like to tell people that, even though I'm not 100% sure that it's true. But that's how I think it works. So in my mind, it's true.
I just have to say a little side question statement, I guess, really. If you're going to kill somebody, you might not want to have face tattoos. Just want to say that, guys. I don't know if you had the tattoos on the face.
That's kind of or throw a mask on at least.
Yeah, I know.
Also, we strongly recommend that you don't kill anybody.
No.
This is not financial advice or life advice.
Mr. Whale, Cleanspark Whale, did you watch Tom earlier today? And did you see I asked him if he'd be my boyfriend? He said no.
That was on. That was live on there.
Did that mess you up when I said that to you?
I don't know what's going on. You were here in real life. Everything was. We were doing morning live stream. It was black as white.
Gorilla, I just have to say everything crashed because I bought Cleanspark. I've been in Cleanspark now for 3 weeks, and it's been painful. And I went like heavy in. Now I got to go double my freaking position so I can get out unscathed. That's what sucks.
So when are you going to do that? Did you buy yesterday? Did you buy today?
I didn't. Nope. I'm waiting. It's too shaky. Once we went below that line of support, Tom, I don't feel good yet.
Well, we are in the same boat. I said this morning I didn't buy anything yesterday. I also didn't buy anything today. I didn't feel like, if anything, I would have bought something yesterday. Today was so sideways. A lot of the stuff was green a lot of the day. So I certainly wasn't going to buy in at that point. But there could be opportunity ahead. So that's what we have to discuss.
Well, did you hear about the tax, Tom?
The proposed.
Yeah. That is never getting approved, just so you guys know.
U.S. Treasury Department proposes 30% excise tax on crypto mining firms. So what George just said, I think, is correct. That's not really going to happen. That's a proposal. This says his 2023 budget proposal, but that's wrong. It's the 2024 budget proposal.
Can you imagine? Think of how much money he probably made off of crypto already. Biden, you made like $25 million off of crypto. You really want to do that? Screw him. Sorry.
So the one thing I think they will do, this Crypto tax rule updated. U.S. President Joe Biden unveiled his 2024 budget proposal on Thursday, highlighting a separate provision that would close a so-called wash sale loophole in the tax code. The move would block people from harvesting their tax losses by selling digital assets at a loss, making that hit when they file their taxes and then immediately buying the same assets back. So all you guys probably know, or if you don't know, with equities, there's a wash rule. You have to wait 30 days. And that's all they're proposing here. So I think this is one of the things that they're proposing. But in this thing, that is the proposal. I do think that's going to happen. That actually levels the playing field. Those are the types of regulations that make sense. Put everything on a level playing field. Regulations are the same. So that, I think, is going to happen. However, the other thing, basically putting phasing in over the course of 3 years, 10%, 20%, then 30%, a tax on people, on any company buying energy to mine cryptocurrency. So I think the chances of that are slim to none. Certainly it's not going to happen while we have a split between the executive branch and the legislative branch. So we'll have to wait. Oh, I got a 14.
What are you talking about? I know,
if
Chris,
everybody could please
worry.
smash the like button, I would appreciate it very much.
I should do it too.
Stream.
Chris, only thing I can say is March ain't over yet. This is going to be March Madness.
March Madness. Okay, so you're sticking to your guns. March isn't over.
I'm not. I haven't.
You're just
I
saying.
I haven't called it yet, but I haven't bought anything either. Anything more. I'm already down a ton. This is going to be an I have a feeling this is going to be a March that you're going to remember for a long, long time.
Well, that could be good or ominous.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I have a feeling it's going to be one of those things. Time for a poll. I agree.
All right.
Time for a poll.
Let's do a poll.
What in the hell are we going to do?
Sai, and please let me know if I'm pronouncing that wrong, said, I want to thank you for getting me interested in the stock market. I usually don't like the stock market, but because of you and your videos on mining companies, you showed me another avenue for investing. I really appreciate all you do. Thank you. You are welcome, and thank you for being a member. So much appreciated. I'm glad.
And you would think that we did that on purpose, but we didn't. That was original.
Oh,
we're not that smart, guys.
That's like the people who... Somebody asked me on... Hey, Seth. Welcome to the stream. Somebody asked me this morning, and I get asked this relentlessly in the comments section, and I do not respond. I think they were saying, oh, the guy from Cleanspark's going to come on. Are they paying you for that? And it's like...
I wish. That's a great idea. I think...
Maybe in the future.
Hey, I say this all the time. I'm like, sorry, I don't want to say what I normally say. But I say, why don't they pay? That's what I say. I'm like, hey, pay some money. Sorry.
Here's what I said this morning. You'll know I'm not... We've done 2 sponsored videos, so I'm not at all opposed to sponsored videos. In fact, I'd rather prefer them. But you will know. You're never going to have to...
He's being honest, guys. He's being honest.
It's just reality, but you're never going to have to ask, is this video sponsored? Because we fully disclose. You have to press the button on YouTube that says it's a sponsored video, so a flag comes up to let you know, and I will be crystal clear that, this is a paid promotional video if and when we ever do those again in the future. So if it doesn't say that, then it isn't so. It's just that simple. I think the vast majority of people know that, but...
Nathan, this is how convinced... I'm sorry, Tom. They know it. Nathan, this is how convinced that I'm going lower, is I didn't want to buy Cleanspark until it hit $2. So maybe I'm going to kick myself. Maybe I'm not.
It got pretty darn close.
It's right there, but it hasn't broke it. So
These
$2
numbers are crazy.
$2. I want my $2. $2.
Better off dead.
I think I can get there. And what I'm going to do is double my position in the CleanSpark, so I'll be in at 250. So that's my.
I mean, if you're in at 250 and it runs to 750, that's a triple.
Yeah, well, either that or
if it runs to 750, it's a 300x.
These things better pan out.
I'm not saying it's
or
going to.
I'm take a walk off of a short bridge or a short pier.
Sour Melon Gaming said, I'm a big fan of the morning live stream idea you had this morning, Tom. If you choose to do another one every week, maybe Monday mornings to begin the week. So we did take a poll on that stream. We have to do a poll right now, but we took a poll on that stream, and 93% of the people liked the morning live stream. So that was overwhelming.
What's better, Riot or Marathon right now, Tom, in your opinion?
You want that to be the poll, or you want that to be
Oh, that's it. No. I'm just asking you that question because you know.
Well,
what's the best opportunity, right? There's the question. Here's the question. What's the best opportunity with the lowest amount of risk right now out there in the mining companies? Lowest risk, not going out of business. Like, they're going to be, if they go out of business, they're going to be like one of the last ones that go out of business.
If we do that as a poll, we got to give lots of options.
We can do it. Let's do it as a poll. And then you can go in and discuss yours. And
right.
So I would say, obviously, let's see, the top four are going to be Marathon, CleanSpark, Bitfarms, and Riot. Wouldn't you agree? Those would be the top four right now?
I'm going to say, what is the best, and then in quotes, low risk, understanding that none of this is low risk,
right.
Just relatively speaking. The best low risk opportunity. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah. Low risk. So, like, if Bitcoin goes down to $8,000 and it stays there for a couple months, which I would think it would stay for just maybe a couple weeks at the most, but what are the safest ones to bet on? So I would say it would have to be, those are probably the four biggest. No, what about HUT? HUT should be in there too. Can you do 5?
They won't. They're going to let me only do 4 choices. This is
what?
ludicrous. Is there like a upgraded version of this we can get? What's going on here? I'm going to put the ones that I think belong on there. So Riot and Marathon are the two biggest by market cap by far. So I think it's fair to put those on there. And those are the two everybody's most familiar with.
You see how egotistical we all are? Edwin, or is it Edwin? Yeah. I agree. Anytime I buy, I think that's why the market goes down. They're like, that SOB bought. Let's go take all his money.
They're watching, specifically waiting for you. All right, I got to pick a fourth. Right now, I got Riot, Marathon, and Cipher.
Oh, yeah, Cipher's, yeah.
I think I should go other. If they only let us have 4.
If you do other, other's going to win.
You think that's going to win by far?
Yeah.
And then, but we got to do it.
Think about that. HUT $1.26 right now.
You want to do HUT as the fourth one?
No, it's so hard to pick the fourth one.
They should really let us do more than 4 options. This is new news to me. I feel like I've done more than 4 options in the past.
That was late at night with women involved.
I don't remember any of that, so I feel like HUT is not going to be, well, we're talking strength of balance sheet here to an extent, so I'm going to put those 4 options. Man, with no other, that really closes the door on people. All right, let's do a poll. Should we have an other? No, I'm only kidding. I'm going to do other. Riot, Marathon, Cipher, other. And then if it's other, you can put it in the chat section, and maybe we'll do a different poll if we see there's some consensus that you guys think something else is the best opportunity out there. All right, so that's a Ask Your Community. So basically, what is the best low-risk understanding?
Everybody's going to pick other, just so you know. It's not going to be a vote.
If you pick other...
Oh, really? I picked other immediately.
If you pick other, do me a favor and drop your answer in the chat. So if we see, something dominating, then CleanSpark... Whale is asking, why is Cipher in there? Cipher has been, nobody's paying attention, but that is now the third largest market cap. They're going to be one of the top 5. No, sorry, they're not going to be. They're already one of the top 5 Bitcoin miner from a production standpoint each month. And they have a nice balance sheet. So it's one that is, I know they just started doing what they're doing, right? They weren't online for the vast majority of the year last year. They started mining in late November, so they're pretty new to the game from that standpoint, but they have come on very strong, and they have a good balance sheet. So, and there's a reason. I mean, they're the third largest market cap out of all of these companies, and they've passed a lot of names we know. You know what I mean?
Right,
so,
and then you got to say who owns them.
Who owns who? Oh, right. Yeah, Cipher's got a relationship. I mean, they have the majority shareholder is Bitfury, I think.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, so that's the reason why I think they're pretty safe.
Cleanspark said they're only going to 7 exahash. So right now, that's their stated plan, 7 exahash. And I know a lot of people have higher plans than that. I'm expecting the next round of what people are going to do sometime in the next 90 to 120 days. So if 120 days from now they haven't announced plans to go beyond that, then I would rethink. But the other thing is they claim that their cost is very, very, very low per coin. So that's another thing, you know, if you're evaluating risk, the people with the lowest cost per coin have a lower risk of going out of business if we are in an extended crypto winter here. And I think that's George's assumption. Which are the safe ones in an extended crypto winter type of a scenario? Let's see. We got one person in here who said Cleanspark. But they're not on the list, and that person's George.
I always do that. Yeah, see, Ty just asked the same question. Why is Cleanspark not on their list?
Because it's not on the list because they only let me put 3 things on the list. I could have put a 4th thing, but then nobody... Let's see what people are doing. I haven't even looked.
Oh, wow.
So 29% of the people think it's none of those 3. So that's the thing. Like, which was the 4th one? Probably that 29 is split among 3 or 4 or 5 different miners.
Right.
Ty is saying what you said, George. Cipher's not just Cipher. It has Bitfury on its back.
Yeah, that's the one. I hate to say it, but that's probably the safest one.
Brent said Cipher has plans to go higher exahash off market conditions permit. So I guess he's saying when things turn around a little. Papa D, thank you. Is Greece safe till June? Is Papa D's question. Thanks for the super chat. Much appreciated. I mean, nothing is safe, but my answer would be I like the direction that Gree is going in right now. Right. They don't seem to be in any imminent risk of anything going wrong. I think they're moving in the right direction. So
yeah, probably not.
Nothing is safe. This is the stock market and this is cryptocurrency. But I think Gree is heading in the right direction, in my opinion.
I got one for you.
It's pennies on the dollar right now. It's crazy.
I'm going to say 2 years. 2 years, 1/3 of the companies that currently trade on the stock market will be gone. That's
1/3 of the companies that trade will be gone, out of business, consolidated, bought by larger companies, whatever the case may be.
Everything, yep.
How much? 1/3? 2/3?
1/3. Hey.
Let's see. Alex said Cleanspark has only 2.5 million in cash. Revenue is 20 million in their 100 Bitcoin hodl. Yeah, Cleanspark, you guys, for those of you who follow the channel and the members, I like Cleanspark a lot, but they would not be my safe pick. Cleanspark has the most aggressive growth plan out of any Bitcoin miner out there. So I like what they're doing. I think they've done a good job being aggressive, but still balancing their risk. But I just don't see any way where you could call them a low risk. They're a very aggressive company. So that's my reason I didn't put them on the list. Let's see. Robert says, Cipher has a big shelf offering just like CleanSpark. Yeah, a lot of these guys have shelf offerings. There is going to be dilution throughout. That's just a fact of life in the Bitcoin mining, particularly with the halving coming up. That's why I'm expecting a lot more. I mean, 2022 was pretty much radio silent. If you guys remember 2021, like every few days somebody was putting out a press release. Oh, we just bought 20,000 machines. We just bought 10,000 machines. We just bought 60,000 machines. I mean, it was nonstop for the whole year in 2021. 2022, there was none of that. None. Most of these companies put out no purchase orders in the year 2022. The biggest exception being CleanSpark. Now, that doesn't mean they didn't finish buying the machines they had already purchase ordered. So all these companies did buy machines in 2022, but they're the ones that they had already purchase ordered and put deposits down on. So no new action in 2022 really at all. We went almost a year and with really just CleanSpark. Austin is saying Hive. That could have been one that's on the list. That's a strong balance sheet. Sour Melon Gaming started a CleanSpark position today at 207. Well, that's a good spot to start at, in my opinion. Let's see. Robert Anderson, Cipher is in a good position, but not financials really, and there isn't any background on their ability to execute. Well, there is, and they failed. So, yeah, I mean, there's definitely big question marks. Cipher just started doing what they're doing, right? In 2022, it took them all year to get going. So they just started doing what they're doing. We're going to have to get financial statements, really the fourth quarter financials, and then really I'll feel better after Q1 2023 financial statements come out, which is not for another, 3 full months at least. But we do know from their operational reports, they are starting to mine a significant amount of Bitcoin. They claim it's at a very cheap price, but again, with Robert, I'd like to see that in the financial statements, not just their press releases. Jeff said CleanSpark to the moon in all capitals. Ryan, Iris Hive and CleanSpark. That's Ryan's standard issue shout out. Rocket ship to the moon. Welcome. Alex George, good chance that's correct. High growth, no profit companies can't get financing for growth plans. No cash, no working capital. So I tend to agree with you. Yeah, the number of, and they're small cap stocks, and now they're very small cap stocks because they got destroyed in the last year or year and a half. But there are a massive, everybody's favorite stock. If you can think back to January of 2021, that's going back a little bit now. That's over 2 years ago. Every stock everybody was talking about, whether it be which stocks Kathy Wood was buying or whoever, YouTube, all the YouTubers, and I'm not exempt from that. There's 2 or 3 stocks that I thought were going to make it that were just total failures because liquidity just dried up. We went risk off, and I'll give you an example. Romeo is a company that they completely failed. And I underestimated the lack of access to capital. I also underestimated, no offense to Romeo, this is only my personal opinion, I also underestimated what a bad job their management would do, but that's just my opinion. So I think Nikola ended up buying them for pennies on the dollar. So, they're literally gone. So they're already gone. So there's more where that came from. Skills is another one. Skills I thought was well positioned 2 years ago. They had a boatload of cash. They were very high profile. And the main thing that I didn't know that I found out in my comments section over time is, and this is not according to me, but according to basically everybody that watched one of my videos, their games sucked. Pardon my language. So that's a fundamental insurmountable flaw. If you don't have any games that anybody want to play, I don't care how many years your cash runway is.
And I reached out to them, and I have an unbelievable game, and they wouldn't even respond to me.
So George got no response from them. I don't know what they're doing, but they're still around, but they're trading for pennies. And, you know, a year or a year and a half ago, I put out a video and said, sorry, guys, I in my opinion, the risk profile on this one has changed drastically. I'm out. And they're down. They were already down 50%, and now they're down 95%. So it's just gotten worse since then. Robert said, Mike, yeah and no. If you just hodl and are only adding 100 a month while others are doing 1,000, that is something. So I'm not sure what that was. I might have missed the other half of that conversation. But yeah, it's
Bitcoin popped above 20 again, by the way.
Oh, we're on a run. This is our Friday live stream run because the equity market's closed in the U.S. So now Bitcoin can run all weekend. Well, we just watch. Romeo was terribly managed, said Alex.
Isn't it sad how bad these companies are managed?
I'm not laughing at Alex. I'm laughing with him. I agree beyond belief. Listen, I guess everybody's entitled to their own opinion. I happen to agree with that. I don't know what these I don't know what I would have loved to have been, you know, sitting in the corner listening in their management meetings, because I can't even fathom what the plans that they made and executed. Like, in the deepest part of their deepest trouble, they came out with a gigantic press release that they changed their logo and redid their website. It's like, guys, your supply chain's dried up. You can't buy or sell anything. Your investors are sitting on the edge of your seat, and you're put a new logo out? Great. Please, no press release then. And, you know, there was many, many examples beyond that where they just did not have their eye on the ball, in my opinion. And they did not instill confidence in the marketplace. All right, we're making progress. We are at 40 likes. If everybody could smash the like button, it helps spread the live stream. George and I have noticed that for some reason we get to somewhere around 100 concurrent viewers, and I think that the YouTubes do something to slow us down at that point. So we're trying to break through that. Every single live stream we get to 100 viewers, and then it just seems like, it's very coincidental that we stop at almost the exact same spot. Am I wrong, George?
You are not wrong. Well, you were wrong with Bitcoin, but you're not wrong about this.
You're wrong about lots of other stuff, but this one. Hey, listen, maybe it's a grand coincidence. I have no idea, but I think...
Well, I really thought, what do I need to sign? I really thought Bitcoin was going to be on a tear. Oh, wait a second. That's the later part of the month. I'm not giving up.
We still got a lot more. We got 2/3 of the month left. So March has not started out well for Bitcoin, but we got 21 days left. 3 full weeks. Yeah. Robert said, I'm just trying to catch up on the chat. Robert said, yeah, but at any point, someone who sells 100% currently could go 100% hodl or sell very few. All depends on cost to mine and what the options they have. HUT shows that maybe 100% hodl wasn't smart. So that's going to remain to be seen. I know HUT has temporarily shifted their strategy as a result of the fact that they have proposed a merger, quote, a merger of equals. They don't want to mess with their number of shares outstanding, so they're selling their Bitcoin to fund operations. They went 2 full years hodling everything. They still have the largest self-mined Bitcoin hodl stack out of any company. There's still over 9,000 Bitcoin on their balance sheet, but They did sell all their Bitcoin last month. They have already let us know they're going to sell all their Bitcoin this month, and they're going to sell all their Bitcoin that they mine on a monthly basis until this merger either happens or it gets voted down and doesn't happen. So that, I mean, they've locked themselves into that. I personally believe if either way that goes, if it happens or doesn't happen, as soon as that period of indecision is over, I think they're going to go back to something close to 100% HODL strategy. But that's my personal opinion. That is not based on anybody saying that. I mean, if you take the culmination of everything that they've ever said, it's pretty clear they're adamant about HODLing. All right. Oh, I gotta go. Oh, see, I wasn't caught up. Papa D, thank you again for the super chat. And Papa D is saying, I think in 2024, Republic president market flies. So we're going to have to wait. We still got a long time until the next presidential election here in the United States. We're in March of 2022. The election's a year and a half away from now, and then really the inauguration's still very close to 2 years away. I mean, time does fly. Next thing you know, it's going to be an election season, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. I personally don't want to wait that long. Now, for the overall market, I don't know, but for Bitcoin, I feel like we're going to run. I think it's going to run even before that, but I'm bullish on Bitcoin. I will dig a little bit in like I did this morning in the very, very short term. I think this last thing that just happened was a little bit bearish, so we might have a little bit of bumps in the road in the short term. But I'm still bullish on Bitcoin for 2023, 2024, you know, going into the halving, coming out of the halving. Manuel said, hey, Tom and George, I continue to buy Bitfarms. Appreciate the discount. Just don't keep price this low until 2025. Thanks for your videos. You're welcome, Manuel. Thanks for watching and commenting. I mean, for those of you familiar with the channel, you know that Bitfarms is also one of my high conviction plays. And that has gone, that is at 71 cents. And I'm just going to bring up the chart because it actually got even a lot lower than that in November, December, which is just stunning to me. To me, these prices are, there's 5 or 6 of these Bitcoin miners where I truly believe, I don't know how long it's going to take, but we're going to look back and go, wow, I cannot believe it was trading for that number. I think Marathon's probably one of them. This happens to be Marathon's charts. Right, Marathon's down at $5 right now. Riot's down at $5. They're almost the exact same price. Riot has more shares, so they actually have a pretty sizably larger market cap right now than Marathon. That has flip-flopped back and forth over time. But I'm going to go to Bitfarms for a minute because let's go to the 1 day. I mean, this got down on December 27th, so right before things started shaping up. This is about when everything bottomed out. December 27th is the most popular day for these stocks to have hit their local lows. This was this was under 38 cents, 37.77 cents. I mean, and, you know, I did this run down right here. This is October, November, December. I averaged in a very big way during this period. So I've really taken my foot off the gas, and I have not done much buying through this up period and even this pullback. I have not done a lot of purchasing because, again, I really went so heavy during this period that I feel like this is just replaying the same price action. So if we start to approach these lows again, I think I would start to increase positions. But right now, I'm just watching and waiting right now. I'm in. I'm all in, if you will. And I still have a certain amount on the sidelines, but I want to hold that because, you know, there's always a chance that we have a big pullback. You never know. JM says the merger does not sound good. I think most people agree with you, JM. So far, they haven't done anything yet to properly explain what the upside of this merger is. There's a lot of more questions than there are answers. So hopefully there's more information to come. They did get through a hurdle today. I think they put a press release out. This is Hut 8. I can't remember. It had something to do with, there was a period of time for there to be an objection from one of the Canadian regulation bodies, and they got through that. So that was one of many hurdles to jump. I mean, the real hurdles to jump, forget everything else. The shareholders need to vote yes on this in order for it to happen. So I don't think they're done giving us information on that because we don't have enough information yet. And now, a part of the upside of that was, hey, they were going to diversify between Canada and the U.S. And then we get FUD today that, Joe Biden's recommending a 30% tax on Bitcoin miners, effectively, on the energy that they buy. So, that does not instill confidence in operations in the United States. I do think that's a very low probability scenario, but you can't say it's impossible. Anything can happen. They're talking about it, but that was their opening bid. So that's a 3-year. So that would be 2024, 2025, and 2026. It would ramp up 10%, 20%, 30% of the cost of the energy that they buy. So, it's already the price of energy is a problem, and now you're going to nail them with 30% on top of that.
Money for nothing and chicks for free.
The consequence of that could be, rough for some Bitcoin miners, but that may actually drive the price of Bitcoin up.
This chair, who's that, Tim? I love this chair, Tim. This is probably one of the, and it's really cool because you can go to sleep in it if you want. It has a thing to kick out your legs, I think I did it one stream. Everybody got mad at me.
I was just going to say, as George has done on the stream.
I was chilling one day, minding my business, eating food and finger licking. Sorry, that's a song. So I have a question. Is Bitcoin in trouble?
Is Bitcoin in trouble?
Yeah.
I don't think Bitcoin's in trouble. You think Bitcoin's in trouble? All right, we might have to let me go. Let's take a time out, go back to the poll, and maybe we need to end this and start a new poll. Right now, Riot 37%, Marathon 30%,
wow.
Cipher a distant 10%, and other only 24%. So I feel like Riot and Marathon, Riot did officially win at 37%, but Riot and Marathon came in strong on this poll, stronger than expected. They do have, if you want to look at balance sheets, and I know their balance sheets are structured a little bit differently, and Marathon has a lot more debt, but that's convertible debt. It's not due for years, and it's at 1% interest. So effectively, it's very close to equity. So those are the two strongest balance sheets, and I guess everybody agreed. And we don't need to do another poll. Other got 23%. So even if all of those people had the same company in mind, which I'm sure it was not the case, they still wouldn't have caught up to Marathon and Riot. So those two have always been the most popular, and it looks like they remain, according to our sample group in this 24-minute poll. This is not scientific.
I would have voted Marathon #1, but they just have let me down in so many ways.
Well, they have failed to meet their objectives, as they have stated their objectives themselves. It's not like they were imposed on them and they couldn't keep up. They just haven't done what they said they're going to do. They're starting to move in the right direction. I feel like there's some momentum happening with Marathon right now, but I understand anybody that's still skeptical. George is dealing with his dogs. I'm going to end this poll. The winner is Riot at 38% and Marathon in second place at 29%. The people have spoken.
Hey, buddy.
Let's
Yeah.
see.
Suburban restoration. Yeah.
Robert Anderson is saying, Mike, we just don't understand HUT's plan. Now they are supposedly selling Bitcoin. I think they would be better off just 100% hodl and wait for the run. Why change now? Be a mini micro strategy. Robert, I think the answer to that is they're doing a merger of equals. So in order for the stock, at the time they proposed the merger, if one company starts diluting their stock and issuing more shares of stock, which is what they would have to do if they hodled all their Bitcoin, then all of a sudden your merger of equals is out of balance because one company's diluted their stock. So I think this is strictly, I believe that is absolutely the only reason that they are selling their Bitcoin in the short term. And that's why I think as soon as this merger either is successful or fails, as soon as we know the outcome, they will start to hodl again, in my opinion. They are, I mean, Jamie has been like beyond crystal clear that that's their intention over the course of time. But this merger is creating a short interruption in that, in my opinion. Alex said, I am voting yes so HUT 8 can get mining. So yeah, there's a lot more
Chris,
we need to know about this. Alex likes it. He's saying yes. Personally, I have a certain amount of trust in management. So that's one of the biggest issues when companies make moves like this. And I know people's opinions vary greatly on that. I've gotten a lot of negative comments regarding HUT 8's management. I like what they've done. I do think, we were waiting for the next move, and now this is the next move. It's not what I was expecting. So I'd love to learn more about it. But I think up until now, they've made a series of great moves. So I still have faith, but you can drop in the chat. I know a lot of people disagree, and there's a massive amount of haters out there for HUT's management. And I don't think that was true a year ago. I think it's true because they went into... We had a crypto winter, and they went into hibernation. That was their strategy, but as a shareholder, that is not a very exciting strategy, and a lot of people reached their point of frustration. And they were expecting... I think people were expecting a different move. So let's give this one. For me, I'm going to give it a chance to hear more about it.
Hey, whatever happened? Wasn't Frank coming on or somebody from Marathon coming on? Or did that just kind of fall apart because of...
Marathon, I haven't gotten back to. So we got somebody from Hive coming on. And then we also have somebody from CleanSpark coming on. So we just have to coordinate schedules. But in the next 2 weeks, both of those should happen. And then we will reach out. We talked about reaching out to Marathon and seeing if we can get Fred. Everybody was doubtful that Fred would want to do that. But we'll give it a shot.
And just so you know, I agree. Holding miners have been a losing strategy.
Well, I mean, up until now, that's just a mathematical fact. The question is,
yeah, it was.
How does this play out over time? If you're a long-term investor,
I'm just glad of one thing.
Which is?
I was just glad of one thing. When it was like everything was pumping, it was like, I want to say it was like last July, was it? We said take profits. Don't take all of them, but take some of them. Do you remember that day?
Oh, we harped on that for a couple of streams in a row.
Yeah, we're like, take profits.
When you get a run up, and I take profits through, I have been buying options lately. If we ever get back into a different scenario, I may start selling them again. But I've been buying options, and that's been working out in some of these little relief rallies. So those are the profits that I take, and I hold my stocks. So that's the small part of what I do. But yeah, I mean, especially depending on your own time frame, if you're gonna, if by not taking profits you're gonna lose confidence and bail out altogether and end up taking big losses later, then
you want to hear something? I'm sorry, this is a side note. This is gonna be more about my business.
Go ahead, fire
If you
away.
don't know, I own a company called EmergencyWaterRemoval.com, and we're in a few different states, 4 states, and we clean up water, mold, poop on the ground. That's why some people call me poop. But anyways,
Call yourself that.
I know I like it. So anyways, it's disgusting. I'm a dirty guy. Sorry. Anyways, because I say I like poop. Get it? Dirty poop. Anyways. But I joined one of these organizations, so we get like leads from the insurance company. But what happens now is there's a third party pound me in the ass person, okay? Sorry if you're under 18. There's a third party pound me in the ass, and they want you to pay them money so you can be part of, for an example, Seth, it happens to be USAA. And it's like, dude, are you kidding me? So now I got to pay another $100 for another organization and another $500 just to get vetted so I can be a contractor with them.
This is after you paid for the lead service, you're saying.
Yes.
Now you got to pay.
Now you got to pay somebody else. And it's like, oh, but this guy has
Then what?
State
What's
Farm.
that?
This guy has USAA. He wants 400. He wants 400. Oh, this guy has Allstate. He wants 400. See what I'm saying?
I think we should be on the other side of that business. It sounds
I know.
like.
Dude, I'm like, dude, are you kidding me? And then I bill, and then like you got to have all these certifications, right? You got to make sure you're quote unquote up to date so you can, receive the business. And then you go and follow the rules and regulations of these companies, and then you make no money. Sorry, it's just I hate insurance companies. Sorry, Seth, but I do.
It's difficult to conduct business anymore in these modern times. I think everybody out there.
Chris, you think Marathon's going to 150 and next bowl? It's the top. Dude, I pray to God you're right. That'd be awesome.
That what's going to 150?
I'm trying to get my
Marathon to 150.
I renovated a house in Georgia, and we kind of go back and forth between Georgia and Atlanta and Florida, Naples, Florida, because I'm trying to get Tom to be my boyfriend. So anyways, we go back and forth, right? Well, we just got an offer. The house ain't even on the market in Georgia. It would be a 4X. And did I tell you this time? Someone wants to buy Spring Street. Yeah.
Nice.
And I'm thinking about doing it. And Becky's like, but I love that house.
You got an offer on that one?
Yep.
Oh, man. See, when it rains, it pours.
Almost 5-ish, by the way.
That might be.
I know.
Might be something you got to consider. Okay, let's see. I'm going to catch up. Crypto Golfer, when will Bitfarms have a reverse stock split? I don't think they put together 10 consecutive days over $1. They have not put together 10 days over $1. They had 2 separate runs of 5 days and 6 days, and then they pulled back. Now they're all the way back to 71 cents. But I remain very confident that they will not get to the point that they're going to have to do a reverse stock split. So they have a lot of time left to get where they're going. You can get an extension, and they showed, they did get back to over $1 2 different times from a 37 cents. When Bitfarms was at 37 cents, 37 to 40 cents, it started to get hard to imagine that the thing was going to get back over $1. But we had this, massive run up with all the Bitcoin miners in January, and it kind of put everybody back in the ball game. So I think they're going to make it through and not have to do a reverse stock split. That's my opinion. Jeff wants to Facebook. Yeah, so how about taxing Facebook data center energy? Right. That's why I think this is never going to go through. How do you select this one thing and say that it's different? There's a massive amount of data centers out there and computing power that uses energy all over the place. So that line of reasoning is why I think this tax will not occur in the end. And it certainly, in my opinion, will not be a 30%. That's drastic. That's the USA hates Bitcoin, everybody get out tax. And I just don't think that's going to happen.
For Tesla. I think Tesla's a good buy. Does anybody think Ethereum is going to get beat up here soon? See, what I think is going to happen next.
Well, it's not doing so great at the moment.
I don't know if it's going to happen this month. I think the rest of this month could be actually okay with Bitcoin. I don't know though. There's a lot of uncertainties right now with how many Bitcoins they're getting rid of every single hour with the government. You know, from the Silk Roads and the Mount Goth. So it just depends on how quickly they work through and if they hold or if they sell them.
You're saying that's going to dictate some of the short-term action on Bitcoin.
But if that holds up, we could make a little run, I think, by the end of this month. Because somebody said it in here, is look at the 200-day moving average. Tom.
Well, let's do that.
And so my whole thing was the next big problem I see. There's actually
this is not the 200-day moving average, by the way. Sorry.
This is like 3 or 4 crazy things that are still out there. Still today is Tether, but Tether could actually be getting into a good situation. I don't think they're in it yet, but they could be. That's number one. Number two is Signature Bank. No one said anything about Signature Bank, did they? Did anybody say anything about Signature Bank?
We had, you're talking...
not Signet.
Silicon. No?
Silicon. No, not Silicon. Signature Bank's another person in crypto. And that could create a little havoc. But also the lockup period with... the rumor on the street is everybody's really mad with this whole debacle with Ethereum. And they have really screwed the pooch again.
On missing their latest deadline,
yes.
You're saying?
Yep. And so everybody...
That's their go-to move. They've missed every deadline they've ever set up.
So what I think's going to happen is somehow or another, they're going to get beat up and they're going to take out Bitcoin. That's what I think's going to happen. Just for short term, nothing long term. Still haven't changed my 5 to 10 year outlook. But
it's your March outlook we're trying to nail down.
But remember too, I'm an XRP person too, so that my thought process might be skewed.
It's all filters through XRP. How about taxing the birds that die from windmills? How about solar for this is from Alex. How about solar farms that displace wildlife? How about EV chargers sucking off the grid? Yeah, so exactly, Alex. How can you pick just one thing and say this thing, this thing is bad, nothing else is bad, but we're going to single out this one thing. And could they do it? They've done it with other things. They could do it, right? There's extra taxes on gas, on cigarettes, so it's not like it would be unconstitutional unless, you want to argue that that's a whole different argument. But it's not unprecedented, let's say that. So it's not that it's impossible. I just think it's highly, highly unlikely. It's a very anti-business stance to take. Also, it really would put the U.S. at a great disadvantage in the cryptocurrency world. And, if people think cryptocurrency is going away, I think that they are wrong. This is here. It's still very early. And I don't think we want to cut ourselves out of it right now. That would be my opinion.
Andrew, what do you mean by that? SEC wants ETH to be... And I agree with you. The SEC loves ETH right now, by the way. But they're saying it's a security.
Brent said ETH is a security. Well, some agency in New York came out and declared that ETH is a security. The SEC is on record that they believe ETH is a security. They don't single-handedly. So that is from Brent, and Andrew is saying the SEC wants ETH to be a security. They just don't have... That is absolutely true. Gary Gensler's been on record. He wants Ethereum and virtually the only thing he's not coming after is Bitcoin. He's coming after everything else in the cryptocurrency world for it to fall under SEC regulations. But that doesn't mean that's what's going to happen. He's not the one who's going to decide that. Congress needs to pass a law. We need regulations, and we need to find out who's in charge of what. So that is all up in the air. And for as long as that's up in the air, by the way, it remains FUD, because looming regulations are worse for the market, in my opinion, than actual regulations, right? And because it's the difference between uncertainty and certainty. Once we get our regulations, now we know the rules. We can play by the rules and see where we go from here. But for as long as they can just dangle that out there over everybody's head, it is suppressing the price of cryptocurrency.
There's a good poll. You want to know a good poll to do?
Let's do it.
Who thinks we will have regulations for the all cryptos, the whole crypto space, not just the stable coins, but all crypto? Let's say in 1 year. Who thinks it'll be in 2 years? Who thinks it'll be 4 years? And who thinks it will be never? And then I'm gonna, after it goes up for a little bit, I'm gonna give you my answer, and you guys might be crazy with what my answer. You're gonna think my answer is crazy, I'm sure.
And then I have to give my answer to the last poll, because we were gonna wait until the poll ended.
What was your answer?
First, I gotta type this poll in so that people can.
So stay tuned. More and exciting.
Coming up next, this
Riot won.
Household object.
Marathon was number 2. Other was probably all Cleanspark at 23. Cipher was 9. I actually think probably Cipher is probably the safest bet for not going out of business. Probably Cipher to Riot would be my 2 tops of not going out of business. Even if the coin goes way down. Cipher is because they have basically unlimited money. And that's what people don't realize that you're gonna need, and you might really need in this whole thing.
All right, new poll. How long until crypto has comprehensive regulations? I should have said, so add to this, I should have said in the United States, right? Because every country is going to have its own rules. So just pretend that it says that on there. It doesn't let me edit the poll. So my answer to the last poll, I agree with the results of the poll. Riot would be my number 1 overall safer, if you will, pick. So
Riot?
Yes. And Riot, Riot was number 1 on my list coming in. I made a list coming into the year, so my January 1st, 2023 list, I did have Riot as my overall number 1 pick. I think Cleanspark was 2, but Cleanspark to me is a totally different risk profile. So to me, it's a no-brainer. Riot's balance sheet is unbelievably strong, and they could withstand a very long crypto winter in my mind. So I'm not even sure what it would take for them to have a problem. Doesn't mean they're going to thrive and succeed. It just means I don't, with the strength of their balance sheet, I can't see how they go out of business. And the truth is, Marathon has the very same situation. Because their debt is not due until 2026, from now until then, I don't see what could get in their way other than themselves. So
you ready for this one?
Fire away.
We can move into crypto. I think there's going to be, now when I mean regulations, I mean the whole industry regulated.
Comprehensive regulations.
Right. It's either going to be 25 or never. I picked never, and the reason why is because there's just so much money moving around in crypto that I think they kind of like it the way it is. You can read into that whatever you want to do. But I think that's the reason why you're not going to see anything.
You think that the people who matter are enjoying the status quo?
I think they like it. I think they get together, they can push. I think it's well hidden. I think it's a great asset for them to hide. I think there's, no one even talks about FTX
All right,
anymore.
welcome to Talking Investing.
Have you noticed that? It's like gone. Like no one's talking about it at all.
I got to take a brief interruption. Jacob, welcome. Jacob is our newest member to the Talking Investing Squad. So there's a bunch of content there waiting for you. There's a video on how to join the members-only Discord. So thank you very much for signing up and welcome aboard. So I'm just going to take a second. I'm going to paste a link. Anybody who wants to become a member can press this link in the chat. And members, we have a bunch of members now. We have outstanding members. I'm just going to give a shout out to the members that are on the live stream right now. And we have, in my opinion, we have an extremely exceptional group. We have a lot of people that have, I'm not even going to use the word expertise. They have a lot of knowledge in a lot of different industries. And so to me, that's what makes a group healthy, right? If we all, most of us here all have some amount of knowledge on the Bitcoin miners. That's kind of the common thread, but we have a lot of people in niche markets where, they bring a lot of information that we wouldn't otherwise have. And I think it helps the whole group. I do a deep dive every week on one company that the members pick. It's been a very diverse group that we've done a deep dive on. They've been, for the most part, fascinating companies. So with that said, thanks again to all members.
So Grayscale, that's a good question. Do you think Grayscale will win their case this year? Grayscale, I think this week they have a 70% chance. Tom,
do I think they're going to win their suit?
This suit this year
in 2023?
I say no.
Am I going to get fooled again?
I don't know. Are you going to say yes?
I can't do it. I can't say yes. I want them to win. They had an exceptionally good day in court the other day. People who are in the know, who are watching, think they have a very good chance to win, but they can drag these things out. I mean, I can't understand why they wouldn't win. I can't even understand how it got to this point. I mean, it makes no sense to me. So my answer is I think they absolutely should win.
It's ridiculous, honestly.
Alex said, I think this week they have a 70% chance.
So you're saying there's a chance. You're saying there's a chance.
I think there's a big chance. I think it's an outrage that they even had to go to these lengths. There's no logical. I have yet to hear somebody present a logical case as to why they can't have, and they're not alone. Somebody mentioned the other day on a stream, there's been 10 or 12 Bitcoin ETFs from reputable companies, so it's not like some left field fly by night company wants to start up an ETF. And these are all the big boys that have tried to get in the game, and they've all been rejected. It doesn't make any sense. And I think, the clock is ticking on that. They are clearly stalling as much as possible. The SEC doesn't want it to happen, but at some point it is now in the legal system. And so, yeah, I think they're going to win that case. I hope it's this year, and I hope it's sooner than later, because that's a game changer, in my opinion.
Well, they already have some egg on their face right now.
The SEC.
And so I don't know. It really. Whoever thought? You ever hear the expression "what politics is in everything," or what is that? How's that go? Politics is in everything.
Everything is politics.
Everything's politics, and I think that's the biggest problem that we have. Everybody knows if we had an ETF, we'd be in a lot better position right now.
I mean, we have a Bitcoin futures ETF, but we don't have a Bitcoin ETF. So
what?
Somebody explain the logic behind that, and I've heard what I consider a nonsensical answer to that question. So if somebody disagrees, you can let me know in the chat.
That is, Brent brought up, we do have an ETF for Bitcoin in Canada. Why does that not help?
Yes, Brent, thank you. That's a great point. The problem is the entire, and this is just reality, the U.S. market is so many multiples larger than the Canadian market. It's apples and oranges. So, getting an ETF in the U.S. would access. There's a reason that you'll see a lot of the companies on the Toronto Exchange and a lot of the Bitcoin miners have already done this. You'll see they've all, while they're still traded there, they've moved over to the NASDAQ because they want access to all that institutional money that trades in the US, and it's trillions and trillions of dollars. And until they open up access to all of that money, you know, we're not going to get where we're going. But I do believe that will happen, and an ETF is one of the big ways that it's going to happen. So, I mean, Canada's already done it. We can see there's no problem with it. It's working just fine. And common sense tells us the same thing, in my opinion. So I do think it's coming, but they have... I'll tell you this, in 2021, I never would have guessed we'd be having this conversation in March of 2023. So they've already stalled this way beyond where I thought they would be able to. Anybody, if you could please smash the like button, we appreciate it. We're at 73 likes. We're shooting for 100 likes. It makes a difference. We like likes. We're still stuck. See, since I said that 45 minutes ago, we've been like between 98 and 100 concurrent viewers. It's just, we get there, we stay there. How do we break the cycle?
End this poll. Let's do another poll. I got another poll for you.
Well, let's take a look at how long until crypto comprehensive regulations. So I'm going to
close it in another minute. We'll give it 10 minutes. So.
Yeah, we're at 9 minutes. We got 47 votes, and it's very close. And let's just say 2023 is in last place.
Yeah, everybody thinks 24 or 25.
It's a pretty close split. 25 is now pulling ahead a little bit. 2024, 2025, 18% are still at never. So only 8%. I think the big takeaway from this poll is we're only in early March of 2023, and only 8% of the people think we're going to have anything accomplished, you know, comprehensively from a regulation standpoint by the end of this year. So, and sadly, I have to agree with that. I'm hoping 2024 is the answer.
And here's why it's not going to be 2024. You want to know why?
Why?
Because it's an election year. Nothing gets done in an election year, guys.
So 2024 is an election year, and 2025 did end up winning. First place was 2025 with 39% of the votes.
So that means we would have to get the Democrats and the Republicans to agree on how in the world to regulate crypto. Not happening in 2024. Maybe 2025. But not 2024. I just don't. I would bet $10 on it. Anybody willing to take that bet? $10? Anyone going once, going once? $10. $10.
Sold.
Tom, that's a good question. Are you concerned about Bitfarms being delisted?
I am not concerned about that in any way, shape, or form. I think Bitfarms is a healthy company. They're significantly healthier today than they were 3 months ago, 5 months ago, 6, 7 months ago. They've made a lot of moves in the right direction. Yeah, there's a lot of headwinds in the entire cryptocurrency space, in the entire Bitcoin mining space. So, you know, they're living a little bit of the same nightmare that everybody else is. But I believe they've shaped up their balance sheet to a much, much healthier place. They did not get where they said they were going in 2022, but who did? Other than CleanSpark. And, you know, this is the best part of all of it. The only company that reached their target goal in 2022 was CleanSpark. And there's a gigantic, just look in my comments section, majority of people that think they're a bunch of greedy, terrible managers for reaching those goals, and that they were only self-servingly reaching those goals so that they could get their bonuses. So they're the only company that hit their objectives, and people hate them for that. So you want to talk about you can't win for losing. Like, listen, 2022 is a tough year. If you own these stocks, you're not going to be thrilled. Some of you have the long-term perspective that, hey, this is a discount and a buying opportunity. So yes, there's a small amount of people that are thrilled. And it's probably a lot of the people on this stream and that come to our channel because, you know, we've done a lot deeper look into all of this and have a higher level of conviction. But for those who are passing by, they just get angry. Everybody's angry at the management of most of these Bitcoin mining companies. And I think the leaders are, people right now are very angry at management at HUT. They're very angry at management at CleanSpark. And these are some of my high conviction plays. So I put out my top 8 list. Both of those are in my top 4. Corti is saying, are you still adding to your May options? So I have May options at $1.50 strike point calls. I have Bitfarm calls at $1.50 strike point. And I am still adding to those because they've pulled back. So I already bought and sold those. We went through that the other day, and they pulled all the way back to a point where I thought they were worth trying another round of buying and selling them. They're down since then. They were at 9 cents when I started, and they're down from there. I've added to that. At 9 cents, you don't have to spend a lot of money to get into options. Now, they expire in 2.5 months, so those are pretty short term. They're not 1 week options. It's not day trading stuff, but that's a very short term option. But I am still adding to that. I still think we're going to have a push in Bitcoin, in the next 75 days somewhere. Yes, we've had a little bit of a reversal, but I'm not giving up on those.
I just can tell you that Fan is a fan of nothing. Trump is a fan of nothing but himself. That is probably a good statement. He'll tell you too. Trump
is on record that he doesn't want, particularly, not that he's going to be anti-crypto, but he doesn't want anything competing with the U.S. dollar. And in his mind, Bitcoin is something that competes with the U.S. dollar. So he's not a proponent of it by any stretch of the imagination. I do not believe that, and I'm one of the biggest Bitcoin enthusiasts out there.
Are you?
I don't even think the argument is that Bitcoin is going to replace the U.S. dollar. I think people that believe that, and there's a lot of people that believe that, I think that maybe someday. I think that's a lot further away than anybody realizes. I mean,
Bitcoin.
He made
some money on those. Sorry, go ahead.
Bitcoin has to 10x to be as big as Apple is, to put things in perspective. So to think that it's at a point where it's going to start challenging the U.S. dollar, I mean, it's a very small asset still. Growing, and granted, it used to be 3 times what it is right now, but it's a tiny, tiny asset. We're at the very beginning of all this. So, for people looking into the distant future, yeah, there may be Bitcoin or some other thing in the cryptocurrency world that takes the place, of the U.S. dollar as the dominant, but I don't think, that we're so far away from that right now that I don't think that's a real concern. I think, like, we don't worry that gold is gonna take over the dollar, right? And it's gonna be a long time before Bitcoin even catches up to gold, if ever. I think that it will, by the way, but it's very far away. Gold's got 30x the market cap that Bitcoin does right now, so we got a long way to go. But we got a long time. We're at 81 likes.
I'm just thinking of food right now.
What?
So I can't think of Bitcoin. It made me hungry.
I don't know how you got from one of those to the other. Anybody who's willing to smash the like button, we appreciate it. We're at 81 likes. We've been trying to get to 100 every Friday live stream. We got a streak going.
What's this morning thing about? Like the morning stream thing?
Oh.
You're going to start doing a morning thing?
I don't know. I did a morning stream today because I was tied up with family stuff yesterday and I wasn't able to talk about the big move in Bitcoin. I did not want to have to do a video that was going to take, it's a 3 or 4 hour process from the time I start a video until the time it's on YouTube. So I wanted to get on right away and talk to everybody about what's going on because so much stuff happened overnight and yesterday afternoon. So I did a morning live stream, which we really have not done on this channel in the past. So some people said they liked it. We did take a poll I think it got 92%. 92% said yes, they like the morning live stream. So what are your thoughts on the morning live stream, George?
They didn't say Kevin. They like Kevin in the morning live stream.
Oh yeah, he's got a big morning live stream, doesn't he?
I know he does. That blows my mind.
I don't. Whatever that guy's doing, it's working. So I got to give him his credit.
Got to give him his cred, the street cred.
Is
it the jet?
It could be the jet.
Well, I'll take somebody up in a ride in a plane. Won't be a jet. You won't like me when you're done, but.
And George is going to be flying, so
it'll be fun for me. I'll have a blast. My goal is to make you puke. Sorry. What are you doing? Oh, this thing better restart, or we got problems.
Alex is saying he's heavy into Bitfarms, looking for $1.18 to break even and reduce my position. So, and that's a strategy. So for those, I'm glad that Alex said that, and there's a million different strategies to take in trading stocks, but Alex is taking the approach rather than sell at a loss right now and move on. I'm just going to wait for it. It'll get back to break even, and then I'll reduce my position and go into something else. So that way, he hasn't lost any money. It's only a matter of time, and obviously for him, he thinks that's going to happen in a reasonable time frame, I would imagine.
Reasonable.
So I'll probably reduce my position because I've dollar cost averaged in to a larger position than I intended to, but I do think, just like Alex is saying, it's going to get me back to break even a lot faster. So that's a part of the reason you do that if you have conviction in a play. So not financial advice, but that is one investing strategy that people use.
Unfortunately, I think I have to do it.
With all the selling,
I don't want to do it.
Yeah,
I think that's what I'm going to do, and as soon as I'm in the money again, I'm selling options.
So, and right now your position's in CleanSpark. So you're saying as soon as you get back to plus, you're going to sell call options. You're going to hold the stock and sell call options and make money. So that's, when that's a good strategy. Whether the stock is going up or down, unless, of course, you've fundamentally changed your opinion on the stock and you no longer think it's a good stock, by selling calls, you're just getting paid to hold the stock. You have two risks. One, you're still holding the stock, so if it crashes, you're holding the stock. Two, if the stock explodes in any given week, you may have some opportunity costs that you miss because you sold options and you're going to have to sell them at a fixed price versus whatever they did. But for the most part, for the last year and a half, that has been the most money-making strategy in the market, period. Really, in the whole entire stock market, particularly with Bitcoin miners. JD said, morning stream sounds great to me.
So does that mean we're doing it Monday?
I don't know. Are we?
What time I got to get up? Oh, no, I'm up super early. It doesn't matter, guys.
George is up. That's not an issue.
I mean, what's the sense of sleeping?
Well, you got to sleep. But you're a morning person. You're an early bird. I get up in the morning because I have to. But I wouldn't say I like it. We got 85 likes. We got 85 anybody, and we got 85 likes, 85 viewers right now.
Well, you're gonna lose one right now. I'm checking out.
George, all right. Thanks. Have a great weekend, George.
See you guys.
Any parting thoughts?
Bitcoin. It's gonna. Okay, here's my. It'll stay steady this weekend. I don't think I see. It's gonna come back a little bit. I don't think we're ready to plummet yet. But I was wrong last week, so maybe I'm wrong this week. See you guys.
All right, that was George. So we'll have to decide on the morning live stream. I mean, I enjoy the morning live stream, but I want to pick some times that people are available and it makes sense, and, you know, so we'll see. Let's see. Robert said, don't understand how you can be angry at CleanSpark management. They took the company from no chance of profit, big pivot, grown a ton, and has a path towards profit. So, Robert, I feel the same way that you do. I think that's the change has been transformational at CleanSpark, in my opinion. There are a lot of people that just, their number one thing, as an investor, the number one thing that they care about, and some of you might be in this group, the number one thing they care about is executive compensation. And whenever they see executives, and understand most of the executive compensation at CleanSpark is non-cash compensation. So in other words, they're getting stock. So, you know, in order for them to truly succeed, they really need the companies to succeed. Now, there is a balance. There's a point where you can go too far with that. But for some people, it doesn't matter what else they're doing. If they feel like management's enriching themselves, they're furious, and that's discussion over. And it seems like there's an awful lot of prior CleanSpark stockholders that feel that way. I also sometimes wonder, just while we're on the topic, so there's like literally billions and billions and billions of videos on YouTube. So some people keep coming back and watching my videos and tell me how much they hate them. So I just wonder, like, if there's 50 billion other videos out there, why would you go watch somebody that you know you hate? So my free advice, not financial advice, is if you hate watching me, don't watch me. Do yourself a personal favor. You don't need that negativity in your life. Go watch somebody that you enjoy watching, and life goes on. So that is as an aside. I don't know. Maybe that's a thing people do on YouTube. To pass the time, they seek out people they disagree with and drive themselves crazy. I prefer not to do that. Good plan, George, said JD. Barry is saying CTO Larson, that may be another YouTuber, has a lovely video on Polygon, lays it out in about 30 minutes. I don't know that person, but you can check him out. JC, hi Tom. Hello. Welcome. Welcome to the stream. Alex is saying, my observation, Bitcoin has held incredibly well when you measure against gold, silver, other metals, better than equities, better than the markets, particularly over the last 90 to 120 days. I totally agree. I think Bitcoin has shown great strength. We had the FTX situation unfold November 8th and November 9th. We took a gigantic leg down to a new low, you know, in 2022. That was lower than our 2021 low. Since then, we spent 2 months consolidating, and Bitcoin has been very, very strong. So yeah, we're in the middle of a little bit of a pullback as we speak. And I was disappointed, I'll say, that we took out this line. I was really looking to hold this line. So, you know, I think we may have some short-term volatility down here for a bit. But I'm still bullish. I'm still very bullish on Bitcoin. I do think this was a trend reversal right here. I think this is on the one-day time frame. Yesterday, this move down is a short-term reversal in the trend. So it may take longer. You know, I was hoping to get back and test 25,200 and then maybe run up to 29,000. I thought that was the next move up. With this move down, that is clearly, we can no longer say that's the next move up. The next move has already been down. We got down to where I was worried we would get to, which was this 19,900-ish pink line. That was the peak of the bull cycle in 2017. So we've already tested that, and we may test spots lower than that. I don't know. You know, once the momentum shifts, it may take a little while to flush itself out. We are way oversold. I'm going to go to the RSI. So on the 1 day, we are now at 28.3. So that is oversold territory. So we're oversold on the 1 day. And remember, at the beginning of this run, we got up to almost 90. We were overbought beyond belief. And we've gone from that point now all the way to oversold. But more importantly, on the 4 hour, we got to shrink this down. We did something similar. We went from near 90 to historic lows on the 4 hour RSI. This got down near 9, which happened the day that FTX crashed, and I couldn't find another day in the history of Bitcoin where we got to 9. I only went back 3 or 4 years, so maybe somewhere years and years ago there's a time, but it's fair to say, this is epically oversold at this point. So I do think we should have a little rally. Now we've got on the 4 hour time frame, we do have, this is our third green candle in a row. So, that's just relieving some of that massive oversold pressure. So I did say I thought maybe we would go up a little, but then I won't be surprised if once this 4 hour RSI gets up around 50, if we peak and then maybe retest this line or go down and retest this line. So this is super short-term stuff, and I'm not a day trader, but I will look, at 19,000, I'll probably start to average in again if we get there. And there's no guarantee that we'll get there. We just looked. We got historically oversold on the 4 hour time frame, and we are currently still oversold on the 1 day time frame. So, that does leave some room to the upside here. But, as far as this bull run went, as far as this rally went, I think you could say that rally is now over. Any move to the upside is going to be a new rally at this point. And this was a big rally. So I'm going to go back to, this was a double bottom. The last time was November 21st. So from November 21st until the middle of February, that was 63% rally. So that's the biggest rally we've had. That was bigger than any rally since we reached our all-time high of 69,000 in November of 2021. So we had a couple of 40% rallies in 2022. This is a 63+% rally. So this was a huge rally, and I do think it represented, we started by Alex saying, I think Bitcoin looks strong, stronger than the rest of the market. I think this has shown great strength. And yeah, you know what? It was a gigantic run up. We're having a pullback, but we're still in a very healthy range, in my opinion. So I'm not calling for, I don't think we're going to revisit our lows. I just don't think that that's the case. We will see. I think Bitcoin's been strong, and we're going to hold on. I still do think we'll get back to 25.2 and then to 29, but I definitely I thought that would be our next move, and it wasn't. So that was wrong. So now we can only see, how much regrouping, how long do we need to consolidate before we take another run. But I feel like it's inevitable we take another run up at that 25,200. And I'm just going to zoom out, because if you look at the 25,200 line, that's a very significant line, because we had this giant relief rally. This was the flash crash in June of 2022. That was in many ways, that was the bottom for Bitcoin, although we did get to a lower number during the FTX situation. From that, we had a 40+% recovery, and that got us up to about 25,200. That was in August of 2022. So from June of 2022 until now, we hit 25,200 in August, and it took all the way until February of the next year to retest it. So this is a very long-term line here, which currently is proving as resistance, but I feel like we can cross to the other side of that line. Also, I do feel, back to the person who asked, do you think Bitfarms is going to have to do a reverse stock split? I believe once Bitcoin crosses this line at 25,200 and enters, you're going to see there's a void above this. So I think there's a chance we run if we can get into this territory. And that's when I think all the Bitcoin miners are going to have another giant run up. Because remember, even though they're all up a lot this year, they're still mostly down anywhere from 85 to 95% off of their highs from a year and a half ago. So, there's a lot more room to the upside in the long term, in my opinion. Life is asking, is anyone actually worried about Bitcoin? I mean, if your time preference is always a year after halving, why would you need to worry? So Alex is saying, I agree, Life. Yeah, and I mean, that's been kind of the cycle. So, you know, there's never any guarantees. So we don't know until it happens. But, you know, if history is any indication, then, you know, there should be some big moves ahead. But there's a lot of factors. In the short term, there's a lot of factors that dictate this. I mean, we learned that this right here, this was the 8th and 9th of November, and really I got a couple extra days in there. I think I got 4 days in there. That's FTX. So that was an event. That single event changed the trajectory of Bitcoin for a 2-month period. So that was a sidetrack in my opinion. So I don't think it changed the long-term trajectory of where we're going, but it derailed what we were in the middle of, and we had to consolidate for a long time to get healthy again. So those types of things can happen. And Austin is bringing up a great point. If CPI is good and we have 25 basis points, as I expect, I believe we will have a good rally. CPI... So those are the two things that have dictated the market for the last more than a year. The CPI report and then, you know, the rate increases. So the market shifted massively last week, and it has shifted back. For the longest time, we had priced in a 25 basis point rate hike. It got to the point where it was in the mid-90s, the futures were pricing in a 25 basis point rate hike. So, you know, there was almost a pure, you know, agreement that it was going to be 25 basis points. All of a sudden, Jerome Powell said one thing that I think people misinterpreted. I think he kind of said it on purpose to slam the brakes on things a little bit. And it led people to believe that maybe we were going to get a 50 basis point rate hike this month on March 22nd. But now, I'm going to go to that chart because now all of a sudden... So this is the futures chart pricing in 25 basis points is at 62% right now. 50 is at 38%. But you'll see if you look at this chart, yesterday it was at 68%. Today it's at 38%. It was as high as, and we don't see that in here, but it got close to 80% priced in. So for about a week, everybody was absolutely convinced that we were going to have a 50 basis point rate hike. I am with Austin. I said all along on this channel every day that I did not think we were going to have a 50 basis point rate hike. I think that the market was wrong. I think they were pricing that in wrong. The market has already shifted their position. Now, the one exception I will say, if CPI is a nightmare, and I just don't think there's a real chance of that happening, but if it's a nightmare, then, you know, maybe 50 is on the table. But to me, even if it was, I would not do 50 basis points. I think that would be a big mistake on their part. They don't want to shift gears. Andrew was saying, no way there's 50 raise. Banks are collapsing because of the hikes. So that brings up a great point. We just had a bank fail today. So in the United States, that is not a common occurrence. So... And it's for this reason. This 50 basis point thing is a game changer for banks. And so that's a very fair point. And I think that's why this has so quickly shifted back down to the consensus being 25. And I think this is just going to grow and grow and grow. And again, unless CPI is some shockingly bad news, I don't really think there's any chance we're going to get a 50 basis point rate hike. You never know, so you can never say 0% chance, but to me, that would be a huge, huge error. Let me see if I can find... Okay, so this is Silicon Valley bank crisis is rattling America's biggest banks. So this goes exactly to what... Who said that? Andrew. What Andrew was talking about. The Federal Reserve's aggressive campaign to bring down inflation helped set the stage for major problems at two California lending institutions, SVP Financial, which the government stepped in and took over today, so they're done. And then Silvergate, we all know they voluntarily are winding themselves down. As an outflow of deposits forced both to sell assets at a loss, those assets were bonds. Banks are big investors in assets like treasury bills because they need lots of safe places to park their cash. Many financial institutions piled into these investments during a period of historically low interest rates that spanned the early years of the pandemic, as banks took on tons of new deposits and lending was somewhat restrained. But now the Fed is hiking rates at a rapid clip, with Fed Powell warning earlier this week central banks may have to speed up the pace of its rate. And those were the words that he said. He did say that. So I understand how the market could interpret that, he was indicating that. But to me, that was just more, one of the biggest tools they have is to talk tough. But I didn't feel like that was a real option for them. So anyway, this goes on to say the central bank may have to speed up the pace of its rate increases to cool the economy further. The problem that creates for banks is simple. So this is the conclusion of this short article. Higher rates lower the value of their existing bonds. So this is a nightmare for banks. 50 basis points would be a big, big problem. Everybody's priced in a certain trajectory. And if they were to do 50 basis points this time, that would be a big departure. And you can see we've already had both of these banks, although Silvergate voluntarily wound themselves down, there was a run on the bank. And they got to the point where everybody's getting their money back at Silvergate, so that is good news. But there was a run on the bank in December, and it has forced them to wind down. SVP, I don't know if everybody's going to get their money back. So there was a huge amount of deposits that were past the FDIC insurance. It's highly likely everybody's going to get all their money back. That's usually how this works out. But for a bank to go under, and this was not a small bank, that's a big problem. So to Andrew's point, I think for that reason, the Fed, they got to be scared of jumping 50 basis points right now as we're watching banks collapse. That's the last thing that we want. And all the banks took a beating this week in the financial markets. So I'm just going to pull up. Let's see. Just for instance, so the Bank of America was down about 1% today, but if you do the 5-day on this, you can see this went from $34.50. I don't know why I'm doing this here. I should be doing this here. Like, this is what's happened to banks in the last... This goes back several weeks. But even, let's just look at this last week, right? From the bottom today, and it did bounce off the bottom, but the Bank of America is down 16% in the last week. That's a big move to the downside for a financial institution. These guys don't have giant moves like that ordinarily, but you can see that happened here, that happened here. So this is not, the banks are supposed to be benefiting from increased interest rates, but you can see the phenomenon that's happened. Right now, it's too much. So there is too much of a good thing. Wesley said, "Hi, Tom. How you doing? Thanks for all your content." Hello, Wesley. I'm doing great. Thank you. This was not the best day in the market today and yesterday or in Bitcoin, but still optimistic, doing great, and thanks for tuning in. So I think that's the bottom line. I think 25 basis points, in my opinion. I've been saying that. I did not change my mind. Maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe it's going to be 50. But if you guys watch the tape, in every one of my videos, I've made it a point to say I just cannot believe we're going to have the 50 basis point rate hike. It doesn't make sense. Even as the market was overwhelmingly pricing that in, I think that was a knee-jerk reaction. And that's where you got to be careful in some of these moves. Particularly anytime Jerome Powell says something, sometimes for 24 to 48 hours, the market has an irrational response to that. So you got to take a look at that response and understand that may be a short-term overreaction, a knee-jerk reaction, and things will reset themselves as time goes by. This, I think, reset itself at an accelerated pace based on the fact that we now have banks, being taken over by the Fed and going out of business. That's a crisis. Let's see, MinerDoc, if we get more bank failures, the Fed could be done raising. So yeah, I mean, if that's what this turns into, if we start having banks failing, they're going to have to take some of the drastic measures they took back in 2008 and put a stop to that, because the run on the banks are very emotional, right? They're not necessarily logical, and once they get momentum, it can be very dangerous. So these two banks they had a run, and it put them out of business. So we definitely, absolutely don't want that happening. We're going to need to see the Fed do some serious things. If this turns into the new narrative, then you're right. We could get, now I don't think anything's going to stop them from raising rates at this meeting, 2 weeks from now. But if this turns into the narrative, if this turns into the bigger problem, they're not going to be able to raise rates anymore. They're going to have to open the window. They're going to have to go back to some policies where, they got to stop a run on the banks. So we're still some steps off of that now. I don't want to overreact, but yeah, we want to avoid that risk. We got one Bitcoin says Bitfarms is the best and Cores is dying. So that's one opinion. You guys know I like Bitfarms. They're having they had a tough run. They're down to 71 cents. They were up well over 100% at one point this year, even as recently as I'm going to go to last Friday's chart. So this is from January 1st, 2023 through last Friday. So I update this every Friday. So obviously I have not yet updated it. The market just closed. But as of last week, Bitfarms was still up 100% year to date. So, these companies, these Bitcoin mining companies have had nice runs. Now, that's coming from a very, very bad place, right? A lot of these were down between the Bitcoin miners, the 18 that I follow, were down between 91 and 99. Yeah, 91 and 99% from their highs to their lows in a 15-month window of time. So, it's not that hard to pull a double when you're down 90%. That really is hardly scratching the surface of getting back to where you were. One Bitcoin says Bitfarms cleared a lot of debt, and yeah, they got rid of 86% of their debt over the course of the last, I think, 6 months. So that's what I'm saying. I think people are talking about reverse stock splits. Are they going to go out of business? That risk to me was much higher 6 months ago. They're down to $22 million in debt. They were at like $150 million or $160 million. So altogether, I think the math was they've eliminated 86% of their debt. They had to sell their stack of Bitcoin to do that. So it did come at a cost, but it leaves them much healthier, because you don't want to be in the middle of a crypto winter and get run over by the interest and the principal. The debt service is what kills these companies, right? Even if you can afford the interest, these are short-term loans. The banks were not exactly giving, Bitcoin miners 10-year loans on these Bitcoin machines. Most of them were like 24-month loans. So those roll over you fast. Space Oddity saying buy Bitfarms at 55 cents, and that is possible. And I have not bought in yet, so I'm kind of on the same page. If we get down to that, I'll start averaging in on some of my high conviction plays again. So, if the next 2,000 points is down, we're probably going to see some more of those very low numbers. Let's see. Michael Anthony saying, how many Bitcoin companies have they closed so far this year where the people ran one company have the people on trial now? I don't know the answer to that question. I mean, most of the companies that we follow, and that's this list right here, these are publicly traded companies. The only one that's actually had to file Chapter 11 is Core Scientific. And so their stock's up 389% this year as of last Friday, but it's in Chapter 11, so obviously there's a giant question mark hanging over that stock. But again, this is up 389%. It was down 99 point something percent. So when you're down 99%, it's, you know, these are the types of runs you can have, which is why I talk on this channel a lot about 2X's, 3X's, 5X's, 10X's. You know, most of these companies with a 10X won't even get back to where they were. Some of them don't belong back to where they were. So, you know, it depends on the company. You got to be very careful investing, but, you know, that's the pullback we saw. So for those of you who have been here for a while, you know that 2022 was horrendous. We are having a nice little run since the market closed today. We're at 20,245. We were under 20,000 a lot of the day today. We got as low as, let's see, it looks like our low was just after the U.S. markets opened. We got to 19,663. Were we lower than that overnight? Earlier in this morning, 19,569. So somewhere around 19,600 we got down to. We're back over 20,000 by a little bit right now, but and again, it did look like, just looking at, we've looked at this a couple of times, just looking at the 4-hour RSI, we were down to 9. So there was almost nowhere to go but up in the very short term. But this could easily reset itself and turn around. So I think everybody expected this nice little rebound off of this bottom, but that doesn't mean that the next leg isn't a continuation down. So I would not be at all surprised. I do think, to sum up, I think we had bullish momentum when we took this line out right here, which is at around $21,500, which we took out yesterday. I feel like that ended our rally that we were in. It was a 63 or 64% rally from bottom to top. It lasted a couple of months. It was a great rally. I think this ended it. We now are having lower lows. You can see that was a low. Now we're down here, and we haven't even confirmed what our low is yet. So we're going to have to go through a little bit of consolidation, sideways activity, potentially hit some lower lows before we get back to where we're going. But I'm still very bullish on Bitcoin in 2023. I think we'll get through that process in a short period of time, and I'm expecting to still run back and test that $25,200 purple line up here. We hit that 3 different times in February, so that was a very strong test, but we clearly failed that test. So now we're regrouping, and hopefully we make another run at that again. Space Oddities buy targets are Riot at 450, Marathon at 450. So that's getting, those guys are getting pretty close to that. Bitfarms at 55 cents, Hut at $1.05. So I think we're 3/4 of the way to Space Oddities price targets, but not there yet. So I'm guessing he thinks we're going to test one of these lines down here, either around 19, around 18. And none of that would surprise me. I'll tell you what would surprise me. If we get below this line, which was the flash crash from June of 2022, I will be very surprised. So I would say that would surprise me. I don't think we're revisiting from there on down. I think we've already bottomed out and spent our time down there. But I do think there's a little more room to the downside here, just in this short-term momentum that's happening. So I think we could hit all of Space Oddities price targets. I think that's very realistic. Let's see. I'm all in Bitfarms in this sector. Buy at 96 cents. I'm here for the long run. Yeah, I mean, so that's another thing. Time frame. If you're in it for the long run, for those of you who think that Bitcoin is going to succeed and you think Bitfarms is going to succeed, then, you know, you're expecting you're expecting 5x's, 10x's, 20x's, whatever, whatever your long-term price target. I'm talking 3 years, 5 years, 7 years from now, right? And we've seen, so I always like to reiterate, like, this is not unprecedented. In the bull market in 2021, the two U.S. publicly traded companies that were Bitcoin miners were Marathon and Riot. They were U.S.-based. Bit Digital also was publicly traded. They were not a U.S.-based company. They took a different trajectory. But Marathon and Riot more than 40x'd in 2021. So, that's what happens if Bitcoin does its thing. So the question is, do you think Bitcoin's going to do its thing? And do you think Bitfarms is still going to be around to see it? And if the answer to that is yes, then you're probably expecting very big moves to the upside. So I think Riot and Marathon at these new prices that they're at, they could do another. They did a 40x already once. So yeah, they could do it again. I think we're years away from that, but that's my personal opinion. So who knows? One Bitcoin is waiting for the next halving impatiently. I mean, it is what it is. We know roughly when it's going to be here, so all we can do is wait. I think there's going to be bullish activity before the halving, in my opinion. Not saying we're going to get back to our all-time highs and set new records. There's a lot of big numbers out there that people are talking about that, may come down the line. But I think we're a little bit away from that right now. But that doesn't mean you can't be bullish on Bitcoin. There's a lot of room between 20,000, where we're trading right now, and our previous all-time high of 69,000, right? Getting into the mid-30,000s. I think you would see the Bitcoin miners be very healthy. Getting into the mid-40,000s, you're going to start to see them post some nice profits. So some of them at numbers less than that, depending on their, energy costs. So the other thing is, from a profitability standpoint, most of these miners are on very rapid depreciation schedules for their Bitcoin mining machines. Hut 8 depreciates their Bitcoin miners over a 2-year period, but they're going to get a lot more than 2 years out of their machines. So they may have a 2 or 3 year window of time where half of their fleet is fully depreciated but generating revenue. So that is going to change the equation in 2024, 2025. So right now we're at the opposite side of that equation. We're in the accelerated depreciation side. And again, that goes to actual, none of these guys are even profitable yet, but at some point we hope that obviously Bitcoin gets to a price where these companies become profitable. But that will increase their profitability because depreciation is going up massively right now for all of these companies. There will be a point that potentially peaks, goes sideways, or goes down depending on the growth trajectory. All right, it's almost 6:30. I'm going to wrap it up. If anybody has any other thoughts or comments, I appreciate it. We got to 98 likes. We just missed 100. This would have been, I think, our fourth Friday in a row at 100 likes. If there anybody out there, we have had to do this in the past. If anybody hasn't smashed the like button, 2 more likes and we get to 100, and then we can just say our Friday streak is alive. I just see 99. 1 more. So other than that, you guys, I think, see what I'm looking at. I feel like we got a little bit of a recovery coming over the weekend just because we're so wildly oversold. But I do think in the big picture, I think it's highly likely we retest this line at just under 20,000. I think there's a decent chance we test this line at around 19,200. And we could end up testing this line at 18,200. I think all of those are on the table. To me, anything past this would be very surprising to me. So I do think there's been a momentum shift, and, we could test some lower numbers, but I am not expecting to test the bottom again. I believe that's in the history. We got to 100 likes. Thank you very much, everybody, for that. So those are my thoughts. Maybe a little upward momentum over the weekend, but maybe some more tests to go before we start to run back up again. those are my thoughts. Take them for whatever they're worth. So thank you, everybody. Thanks again to all the members that are on the stream right now. And thanks to the new members that joined. And anybody interested can join the membership. I'll just leave you with that link. So you're welcome to join the membership. Everybody enjoy your weekend. I guess go Bitcoin. All right, I think we're good. So thanks again. Thanks, Nash V. Thank you. Space Oddity, Nathan, Brent. Thanks, everybody. And thanks to all the members again. And thanks to all the subscribers. And thank you guys for getting us to 100 likes again. Much appreciated. Everybody, hopefully, let's all enjoy our weekend. And maybe we'll have a live stream Monday morning. I'm going to talk to George and see what's going on. But it seemed like people like to live stream. So we're going to work that out over the weekend. So, and we'll get some videos out over the weekend. So thanks again, everybody. Enjoy your weekend. And we'll see you in the next video.